Finally, we're back with the Through Boggy Terrain Q&A Part 2. Okay, so today's white noise in the background is going to be Final Fantasy Type-0, but a twist on it. I'm going to be playing all of the old missions that I've already played through using only Eidolons in a game I like to call Eidolon a Ding Dong. Okay, so basically what I'm going to be doing is going through every single level, only playing as Eidolons, in which you have to sacrifice a character and cause them to die, and you have to kill everything on screen with a couple of exceptions. There are some areas where you're not allowed to use Eidolons, so I will not be using them during those sections, and also in areas where the Eidolons physically cannot kill someone, I will be leaving those and moving on, because it does happen. Okay, so you're also going to see in one of the first few bits, I get rather stuck in the first map and realise there is a slight problem with playing this. Okay, so watch out for that. I'm sure you will all find my ineptitude hilarious. Okay, right, so why do this challenge? Well, basically, it's more about speed than anything else. The Eidolons aren't going to die very easily. But you have a very limited number of people, and the longer you take to kill everything, the sooner you're going to run out of people to produce Eidolons. Okay, so without further ado, I should stop talking about the game and get to my first question. Here we go! What game would you recommend to someone who has never played computer games? Okay, right, well, I think a good starting point is always the Telltale games. If you play one of those, they're rather slow-paced, they're rather easy, there's an interesting story behind all of them, and they kind of help you to get used to the idea of the control pad, because there's a lot of quick-time events and things like that, so it can teach someone how to use a control pad, basically. It's quite limited in terms of gameplay, and it's just something to be enjoyed. I think after that you'd move on to maybe something like the Lego series of games. You know, just fun games to play which are full of action. I don't know, they seem like a good bet to really go through. Hope that answers your question. Next! When playing a game, what is the key element for you? More than anything, just a game that's fun, really. It has to be fun to play. Story isn't always necessary for me. Sometimes I can just pick up a game and just have fun with it. I think a good example of that actually would be Destiny. A game, the story is rubbish in it. It's really badly told. The narrative is all over the place. It's got very, very mindless gameplay to it. It's just a bunch of fetch quests mostly and stuff like that, and missions that you play over and over again. But I have fun with it, and so I like the game. I think the same thing can be said about the Dynasty Warriors games as well. I do also like story-driven games and things like that, but I tend to find that if the gameplay is rather boring and not really to my tastes, then I won't really play it so much. Graphics never really bother me that much either. Sometimes I even like games where the fun isn't necessarily in how you play the game, but perhaps in building characters and things like that. Sometimes I really enjoy that kind of thing. Yeah, apart from that, not a lot else really. I'm not really a competitive player, so I do like a challenge in games, but I don't like that challenge to be overbearing. I find sometimes if a game is too hard, they get frustrating and you lose interest in them. Saying that, I do enjoy Dark Souls. If you had to have a pie thrown in your face, what flavour and why? Okay, right, so there are a few factors to think about here, such as, do I want to waste a tasty pie? Or have something horrible thrown on my face that I could just wash off? Also, what other bits would be coming off the pie that could possibly get in my eyes? Taking all that into account, I think I would have to have a tasty pie thrown on my face, because I would still want to eat off my own face, so I'd go for a cherry pie, because there'd also be no pips to get stuck in my eye. So there you go, and I'm hungry now, and I really fancy eating a pie. Next question. Will you be buying an Oculus Rift? Yes. Yes, I will. There's something to be said about virtual reality goggles and things like that, it's definitely a step in the right direction over something like the Kinect or the Move or even the old Wii. I think Nintendo realised that wasn't really going anywhere when they dropped it for the idea of kind of like more of a standard system again. Really, it's kind of Yahtzee19 did Let's Play video where he kind of covered this about how it increases immersion in games. I mean, just imagine playing something like Skyrim and running around and slaying dragons in like a big 3D world. That would be freaking awesome. Yeah, I don't know whether Skyrim is supported by Oculus Rift, but if that was, then yes, I would definitely buy something like that. Okay, what's next? What would be your advice in man-bear-pig attack prevention? Ah, yes, I've seen South Park. So yeah, I've got a pretty good idea from watching the TV series of what to do to eliminate man-bear-pig in case of a threat. I think it would be to head to the nearest mine, flood it, and remain super serial. And next I'm asked, what's the weirdest experience you've ever had? Okay, I can't really think of too many weird situations that I've really ever been in. I definitely remember one that really freaked me out, and that was when I was working back in a petrol station. And there's this whole procedure you have to go through when someone gets petrol and then has left their wallet at home or something like that and can't pay for it. And you basically have to take their address and you have to take some of their personal details. And there was this one time where someone had, obviously they'd filled up, they'd come to the checkout and said, I've forgotten my wallet. At which the first question I asked was, okay, well, I'm going to have to take down your address. At which point they accused me of being both drunk and under the influence of drugs, which really took me aback because I'm not really much of a drinker and I've never really used drugs. Really. I certainly wasn't taking any at the time anyway, but yeah, it really took me aback because I kind of like would try to explain to him that this is procedure, we ask everyone, and he was adamant that I was under the influence, and he eventually left his address after I'd gotten a manager, went away, came back a little while later and kind of said, okay, I'm really sorry for blowing up in front of you, but then quickly changed his tune and said, but I really don't approve of you coming into work. I don't mind what you do in your spare time, just don't come into work under the influence. And I was just completely taken aback by it. Yeah, so there you go. I go to work completely out of my head, according to that person anyway. Right, okay. Next question. Right. Next we have, which console do you prefer? Okay, so I'm guessing you mean out of the current gen, and right now I prefer playing on my Xbox One, though I'm not in the best position to really comment on it because I haven't got a PS4. I do, however, really enjoy playing on my Wii U. It probably had the strongest release lineup last year. I think there's no real argument about that at all, but I think just for the fact that I've got a lot of friends that play Xbox One, and my best gaming experiences always tend to be ones where you play with other people, so I think Xbox One is definitely my favourite at the moment. Saying that, my favourite console of all time, if you wanted to look at this a different way, is probably the PS2, because back in the PS2 days there really wasn't any competition at all. Everything got a release on PS2 pretty much, although again back then I did really enjoy the GameCube as well, and the Xbox did have a few titles that I did enjoy, but I think for sheer volume of games it was the PS2, and I think that is my favourite console of all time. What do you think about micropayments? Okay, I'm a little mixed about this one actually. I'm probably more positive about it than most. And I'm probably going to annoy a lot of people by saying that I actually do like the way that EA approach it, especially in co-op games such as Mass Effect and Dragon Age. I think when you offer micropayments to buy extra chests and things like that, but then offer an alternative means of doing it through grinding and things like that. It gives the players a nice option, really. If you haven't got time to play games, it allows you to use shortcuts to get up to date, and if you don't want to pay the money, you still have the option of actually grinding through in order to get these things. A lot of other games will do things like add little kind of social aspects to them, like costumes and things like that, and if you enjoy a game well enough, I think it's fine if you want to spend money to spend on those things. I know a lot of people will say that these games are preying on people that are a little more weak-minded, but you know, if they're enjoying a game and they really want to look their character to look a certain way or something like that, really, what's the harm in it? Any of us that think it's stupid just simply won't pay it. It's as simple as that, really. I think where it is bad is when it's used in competitive games, because we never want to see the best players be the people who sink the most money into the game. That's wrong on all sorts of levels. Again, there are going to be some people out there that say, oh well, I don't get to play as often as most people, so I need an extra edge. And really, that's not our fault, really, because there's people that play these games day in and day out, and when someone comes along and is better than you simply because they've sunk money into the game, and they're going to kill you because they've bought an amazing gun or something like that, it just simply isn't fair, and it's a means of gaming that I'm really not a fan of at all. Right, if you could choose to live out the story of a game in real life, which would you select and why? Okay, I'm not sure whether I really would want to live out a game, because a lot of them have a rather negative events where friends die and things like that, and I'd never want to go through something like that. However, there's always The Sims. If only life was boiled down to be as simple as go to work for a few hours, get home, buy stuff, be happy, maybe set a kitchen on fire. If life was that simple, that would be amazing. But anyway, at the same time, any game with God mode turned on would be good too. Just so you could say, look mummy, I'm powerful now. Also, I want to be a pirate, so Monkey Island would also be good. And now our final question. Ever see a man's soul leave his body? Yes. Every time I watch a guy play Final Fantasy VII and watch the scene where Aerith dies. Well, that's it. I hope you've enjoyed the Q&A. I hope it's given you a bit more of an insight into me and maybe the gaming history and things like that. I really want to thank everyone for leaving their questions, and hopefully I'll see you guys again next time. Alright, bye! No, that's not it just yet. I just wanted to do a piece to camera real quick. I haven't done one of these in a while, but I really want to just do this just to say sorry for not getting the video out quick enough. I know I said I wanted to get it up by the Easter weekend, but I probably had the worst weekend I've had in a long time. Really frustrating, and I just couldn't get anything done. It got to about 6 o'clock on Sunday night, and I was so frustrated by that point and lacking time. I didn't even have time to really do a Game with Gold video. I probably could have done a Let's Play, but I was in such a bad mood, I don't know whether it would have really come across okay. So yeah, really, I want to thank a few people, because a few of you, you know who you are as well, got in touch after I did the last Q&A video and said how much you enjoyed it, and that really meant a lot. And it really made me want to make this video on time, and that's why I feel so bad about it. I mean, the channel's not in the best state it could be in. I don't really have a great deal of subscribers still, and I think getting towards the end of April, I think I've been doing this for 6 months, and I said I really wanted to be at 50 subscribers really by then, and I'm still a long way off that. I'm not even halfway to it. So I'm still mulling up in my head whether to really carry this on seriously or not. Really, it's about getting the word out there, because the problem is that it's not that people aren't watching the videos. It's not that they don't like the videos, it's that they're just not being seen. and that's causing problems within itself. I mean, I've been doing a lot of work going on forums, posting on other people's YouTube videos, all things like that, and just to try to get the word out a bit, but it hasn't really worked. People just don't seem to be interested. So yeah, I'm going to sit on it for a few weeks. I've talked to a friend about it before, and I set myself a goal back in, I think it was back in January, when I was feeling a bit down about the channel, and I said I'll carry on. By 6 months I want to have 50 subscribers. That hasn't happened. Well, there's still time, but it's so unlikely. That said, it's not that I don't appreciate all the things which you guys do anyway. I know a lot of you don't necessarily comment on the videos and stuff like that. Some of you don't have YouTube accounts, but really it's the way you judge how well your channel's doing is by your subscriptions, your likes, your comments, and your views. Basically, that's how you can tell when you're not having close contact with people, and all of those are low for this channel. Like I said, I'm going to carry on for a bit. I may stop taking it as seriously, because I mean, I need to find myself another job or something. This thing isn't going to exactly pay my bills. So yeah, I mean, there are a couple of people who tweet and always comment on my videos. Again, you people know who you are, and I thank you so much for that. And I also wanted to personally thank all of you people who left me a question. It really did help things out a lot. So really, yeah, I'll make another video fairly soon. I still have an Aliens Colonial Marines review, which was a request from someone that I really do need to fulfill. I think that must have started back in January or around Christmas or sometime like that, and all the footage is recorded. I just need to go through all the footage, edit it and put it together, and hopefully I'll have that up soon. Anyway, thank you for listening to me, and you will see your name up in the end credits coming up if you left a question for me, because I really do appreciate that. Thanks guys.